Welcome back, listeners, to Learning from Friends. This is Cade Curtis, your tour guide, as always, on this lovely ventures that we have on this podcast. Now, thank you all for listening. We're now hitting into 10 countries, so I appreciate that of being able to have that little accomplishment out there. Now, as we all know, I like to start out my podcast with the quote of the day from what my mother sends to me, just fun little stuff. So today's is an unknown author. The quote goes, "Until it's my turn, I will keep clapping for others." It's really that simple. It's a good little quote that be able to support your friends just because you aren't doing something at that point in time or you haven't found that accomplishment yet. Always support your friends in a way, form, or fashion because you know what? That's makes the world a little better. So today, with our topic, I am fortunate enough to be speaking with one of my best friends in this world about his career, that he is in a trade union. He works he's a sheet metal worker and works at the Smart Local 85 in Atlanta. So Bobby, welcome into the podcast, my friend.
Yeah, thanks for having me, dude.
Glad to have it. It's how do we know each other? I'm just curious on what's kind of something that you remember.
We've been hanging out since third grade, man.
Yeah, was that 25 years, something like that now?
Something like that.
Yeah, something along those lines. Do you have any funny memories or funny stories you kind of want to share out?
Just when we first met, I mean, everybody's telling me like, "Hey, don't talk to that kid. He's totally weird." And I was like, "I'll talk to whoever I want to. Thank you very much." And then we hung out like ever since then.
Yeah.
It turns out like they were right. You are weird. You are a weird dude, but I love you, and you are my friend. So
that's kind of where it works out the most. On we have our weird oddities, but you know we get along. We make things work with each other.
Yeah.
But I had a drool at that time, and you know, big bottle cap glasses that were probably half the size of my face. So was interesting for sure. We were playing basketball, and my funny story of playing basketball with you is the first basketball game. We're playing, and you get the ball, you rebound it, and everyone's excited. Like, yo, yeah, you got a rebound, and you turn around, and everyone's yelling to come down the court, and you just turn around, and you're like, yes, the ball's open. Free throw line, turn, shoot, sink it. And then next thing you know, the alarm goes off by the coach to take you and sit you right on the bench.
Yeah. Oh, well, basketball is not my thing.
Yeah, it was just funny. Just a good little memory on that. And then I have a shoulder issue that continues to pop up from time to time because when we were over in Free Home, we decided it'd be fun to, tie our bicycles together.
Oh, my God. Okay.
And next thing you know, we're going down and you decide we're going to go to the ditch. So we went to the ditch I landed first and then you landed right on top of me.
With the bikes, yeah.
With the bikes. That hurt.
Oh, well.
Yeah, life goes on.
We lived.
We live, we learn, and somehow we keep going. And I want to thank you for introducing me to a lot of music over the years that I probably would have never gotten into until much later. But
I think more than anything, like Corey is the reason we both got into music.
It is true that he really did push it.
He's the one who like introduced us to all those bands.
Yeah, but you really pushed it forward because he was in college at the time. And you went off the deep end of which is a good thing, of buying all the CDs, buying all the stuff. Like Corey, my brother, played the stuff for us, but whenever we were at home, you're the one that kind of pushed out the deep end because of almost every Saturday from 7th grade through high school, I was over at your place playing music. We had a small little band for a little bit, and the music from the intro and the outro is written by Bobby. So thank you for encouraging me to play bass guitar and kind of go forward. If it wasn't for that, it wouldn't have never happened.
Yeah, no problem, man.
So give us, if you don't mind the audience, a little bit of a short summary of who you are as a person. Give our Wikipedia person something.
I'm Bob Thompson. I'm a union sheet metal worker out of Atlanta. I work for a company called McKinney's. Been doing this for about 9 years now. It's paid off. I needed a job. I needed a career path, and because my kid was born, and had to get my stuff together real quick. And this is the way that I did it. This was my come up.
What age were you? Do you remember whenever you started into it? Because you had a bunch of other jobs before this.
Yeah, I was 24 before I got in. Like I said, my son was born. He was born in December, and I started the apprenticeship program in March.
Yeah, because you got to put food on that table. You got to provide benefits and insurance, and that'll wake you up pretty quickly. Now, for our listeners that don't know, what's the difference between a union and a non-union construction?
With a union contractor, they pay their employees a higher wage instead of you going in and negotiating for your own hourly wage. A group of people that you elect for your trade or for your company or whatever goes in and negotiates for higher wages and benefits and things like that. So you're all in it together. It's called collective bargaining. So that's really the heart of the difference. If you're non-union, most of the time you don't have retirement benefits or health benefits, and sometimes you make less money. And as far as training goes, most of it's just on-the-job training, and you have no guaranteed scale of what you're going to make over a period of time. In our union, we have an apprenticeship program where we go to school on top of working to learn more about our trade and make sure that we're all qualified to do what we do.
How long is the apprenticeship program for as a sheet metal worker? Because I know each one has their own different time frames.
Now it's 4 years. It's 4 years long. Go to school one night a week after work. You don't get paid for it, but it's free education. You're not paying anything for your training. You go one night a week, and every year that you complete, you get a bump in pay scale.
Okay.
It used to be 5 years. When I was in, it was a 5-year program, and then after I got out, they changed it to a 4-year program. But it is what it is.
So when you're in these classes, what are they teaching you? Because you're on site doing some job work. What are they specifically teaching you in the classroom?
The school is more geared toward the shop and layout, because there's two different sides to our industry. As a sheet metal worker, 85% of what we do is duct work. That's mostly what we do.
So ducts, like air ducts?
Duct.
Okay.
We're the only trade that still makes their product from scratch, from a sheet of metal. Pipe fitters, the plumbers, they buy their pipe. They buy their cast iron pipe. Glass guys buy their glass. Like that, but we hand make our product. We're the only one to do it. So a lot of our school is geared towards the shop. It comes out in spools, like in these big metal spools into a shop, and you learn how to create these fittings out of a sheet of metal. You learn layout, all the tools that you need in the shop, and how to use them correctly and safely. And then the other side of the industry is installing it in the field. And that's what I do. I don't really have a whole lot of shop time other than in the school. But it's a lot easier to teach somebody how to and grade people on their work in the shop than it is to do it in the field. There's a lot of different ways you can hang something. It's just really hard to demonstrate that in a school environment, but you can grade people easier and teach people a lot easier how to lay things out, like in a shop environment. That's how that is.
Didn't you teach for, was it about a year?
I taught for 2 years.
What was your topic that you were working on with the kids? Because I call them kids. This is mine.
They're men.
They're students. They're men. My bad.
It was just first year. I taught for 2 years. It was just first year, just mainly an introduction to the trade, and we did go over how to lay out a number of different fittings. Start out with the square throat, square heel elbow, end up working on transitions by the end of the first year. So, and then we would go out in the shop and we would create these fittings, and I would grade them on it. And that's how that went.
What kind of tools do y'all use inside the shop to then working with outside of the buildings? And
well, as far as the shop goes, there's a number of different machines that we use. Hand tools. There's what we call a tender's hammer. That's what we use every day. It just doesn't have that claw on the back,
Okay.
It's a little bit different. But we use snips, 10 snips, like right and left offset snips. vice grips, folding tongs, things like that. And you need to have all those tools by the end of the first year. We have an entire tool list that you got to get. The pay is worth it. The tools can be expensive, but it's not anything crazy.
So you're required to buy and have your own tools
Yes.
on site. So whenever you're walking out to these sites, you have that knowledge that you've been gaining from the classroom, but you're also working on the site, gaining this positions. How did it feel for you coming into this position that first year? Because how did you really choose sheet metal work out of all the different unions that are out there? Because I know you needed the work to be able to work for your son. Why sheet metal?
I just kind of fell into it. We went to see my aunt, just hang out, talk to her. She, wanted to see our son who was just born. She's telling me about her father was a sheet metal worker, and he used to be the president of the local. So I went and, was like, okay, well, I need money, right? I need to figure this out. So I applied, got in, started the apprenticeship program right away, and that's it. And as far as that, I did look up other trades, okay? There's a bunch of them. You can be an electrician, you can be a pipe fitter, you could be...
Refrigeration, isn't that one of them?
No, yeah, I guess. The service, you're talking about like service, right?
Yeah.
Service is local 72. And every other place, our local has a service, but in Atlanta, it's the pipe fitters and the plumbers. They got it.
Now, again, local 85, that is specifically for Atlanta. Is each union different from state to state?
Yes.
So they have the different unions that are set up.
There's an international union, so it's generally like, there are some, we do have some ties internationally, right? SMART, the Sheet Metal, Air, Rail, and Transportation Union, that is an international union. It's a big thing. But every local is different on what you make and your benefits and your work experience. It's going to be totally different.
So each state is really negotiating out their own little contracts.
Sometimes a state will have multiple locals.
Okay.
For Georgia, we're it.
So how do y'all communicate with, if you're going onto a job site, you're coming in, you're doing the HVAC. Are y'all coming in first? Y'all coming in second? What is your role in the process when coming a building? Because there's multiple unions there.
We want to go first, straight up. Now, that's not what happens all the time, okay? And it's, for whatever reason, man, lately things have been weird. Ours is the biggest product in there. The duck is a lot bigger than everything else, right? So we want to go first. We want to get up there, hang our duck as high as humanly possible, and let everybody else come back. Like I said, it doesn't happen like that. And, you end up having to cut into walls and work over ceiling grid and just, do some crazy things. But generally, that's how it's supposed to go.
Do y'all start from the top and work your way down, or do you start from the bottom and work your way up?
It just depends on the work site. It depends on the situation. Most of the time, you'll start from the bottom and work your way up. If it's like a new build and it's just a slab, then sometimes that's how it goes. But I was running this job out in Alpharetta, and it was a precast building. So they got these precast concrete sheets, right, that they'll bring out to the job site and install, right? And then they have to come back over the top of it and pour concrete, right? So the pour schedule was all weird. So we ended up doing the building. We did 1 first, and then 6, and then like 3, and then 5, and then 2.
Wow.
For whatever reason. And that's just how that went. But most of the time you work your way up.
Okay. Now, are y'all just building the sheets going out of the unit, or are y'all part of the people that are installing the unit as well?
Yeah, we install the unit as well. Like I said, it depends on the job site. Most of the time, we install the air handler units as well.
So y'all are part of you do some of the original first building, like whenever it's been kind of fabricated out. Are y'all also servicing it after it's been completed?
The service, yeah. Our company does that, but our service department does that. And those are mainly local 72 guys. So
you're the first installers.
Yeah.
You're not coming back, hey, this building's been around for 10 years. We're coming back in and
we do that.
Fix it.
But not, that's different. If you're just talking about servicing the unit, That's one thing. But if you're talking about we're renovating this place, or we're changing things out, we do that as well. We'll gut an entire floor and redo it.
Wow. So walking onto this construction site and you're tearing into this unit or you're installing a new unit, how do y'all determine the size?
That's all the engineers. I have no idea.
So y'all are not a part of that process. You get the base, like a format, like a blueprint or something saying, hey, cut here, and hang it up.
Yeah.
What goes into hanging it? Because you said there's different ways to hang it.
Yeah. We got a lot of different ways of doing things, but let's say we're hanging just a medium pressure loop. No big deal. Like on this site that I'm working on, it's 50 by 16.
This inches or feet?
Yeah, it's inches.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like 50 by 16. Ain't no big deal. What we'll do is we'll section it up on the ground. We got different flanges that we use that we create. We got a TDF flange. It's basically, we got bolt holes that we can put these lag bolts in and throw this duct together using gasket and duct sealer. We'll section it all up. And then we got different jacks that we can use to actually put it up in the air. We got crank jacks and we got air jacks, which is it's like a bottle of CO2 that uses it to raise that duct up. And then once we get it up there, we've installed these metal hangers. They're just like strips of metal about like 1.5 inches wide.
Okay.
And we install them up there either using hit pins like hammer drill, stuff like that. Or sometimes like on this site, it'll be trembled. And a tremble is basically a GPS machine, little thing, and it tells you where all of your hangers are going to go. And you'll cut them out in the decking and put those anchors in there, and then they come back and pour concrete over the top of it. So all you got to do is go up there, there's your anchor already, and you just got to screw the hanger to it. So we get it up there, we install the hangers, we put the hangers on the duct, and that's it. We just keep it going.
So you're drilling this into the steel foundations already there in place, or how do they locate those spots using the GPS system to know where to hang at so it's the most, what's the word I'm looking for, stable, I think?
I mean, we have standards of how far our hangers are supposed to be and stuff like that.
Okay.
They're called SMACNA standards. It's basically the standards that we've agreed upon between us and the sheet metal contractors. I think it's the Sheet Metal Contractors National Association or whatever. And so it's like, this is how it's going to be. This is what it's established. This is how our hangers have to be 8 foot apart on duct and like 10 foot apart on pipe, things like that. And there's a whole bunch of, just down to how many screws you have to put into it. Those are the standards that we go by.
So that's established by that group, and is that, I'm guessing, somehow connected in with OSHA as well, or not OSHA, but building codes per state?
Yeah, I mean, the codes, the SMACNA is our code.
Okay.
But as far as, there are other codes that we gotta live up to, like when installing a fire damper or a smoke damper, something like that. The building inspector will have to come out and take a look at it, and sign off on it, and make sure it's safe. Because in a building, if there's a fire, all the fire dampers that we install, that's what's going to save people. I mean, that and a bunch of other safety precautions that people take in building these buildings, including fire-rated walls and sprinkler systems and stuff like that. It's all designed to keep people safe.
So what is a fire damper specifically?
It's basically, so if you're going through a fire-rated wall, there's different types, but we'll just go over the fusible link kind. So it's basically like a square piece of duct, right, that you hook up to the other duct, and you put the blade in the center of the wall, and you secure it to the wall using these angles, right? So it's secured to the wall, right? And it's framed around tight, so there's no air getting in around, right?
Okay.
And in that damper, there's like a curtain and held together, or held back by this fusible link, right? So if it gets too hot, say there's a fire, that fusible link will melt. And once it melts, the curtain will fall and keep air from going into that space.
Gotcha. Because oxygen is your worst enemy when it comes to fires.
Yeah, stuff like that. And it keeps, smoke from getting into stairwells and stuff like that. Okay. So it's designed to where, say things are going crazy, ducts falling, fires ripping through that building. It's designed to where that damper will stay in that wall and rip away from the duct if it falls to maintain that fire rating.
Wow.
So it's stuff like that. But so we have codes that we gotta go by. We do have people who come and inspect our work and make sure it's right.
So are they coming in at certain points that you have to contact them, or they just kind of show up?
No, there's work that has to be signed off on.
So it's like a staging. You do stage A, and then they come out and check. Then you go to stage B.
Yeah,
kind of a process.
Not just that. That you got people not even for safety standards. Just okay, are you guys done enough with this work for us to come in and put the ceiling up? Things like that. So you got guys from your general contractor who come through and they'll do what's called a punch list or a completion list. You usually have to go back, fix a couple of things, and they'll sign off on it. That's how it goes.
Yeah, that works. Now, you have had many roles over your years. What have been some of those roles that you have had on work sites?
Well, like I said, I've started all the way. Started as an apprentice. Did my 5-year program. Turned out. So now I'm a journeyman. I was a foreman for a little bit. I've worked as a crew foreman, just under somebody. I ran my own job site as a foreman. Now I'm a journeyman again, because that being a leader is extremely hard. I'm not gonna lie, and it wasn't for me. But no, it taught me a lot, and I'm a better worker for it.
What exactly is a foreman?
Foreman's the guy that he's held accountable for the job. He's the person that is planning the manpower, planning when the material is going to be there, make sure that you have everything you need, all your PPE, make sure your guys work safe, and he's the one that pushes them to get the jobs done. He's also the guy that coordinates with other trades and the general contractor on planning and staging of your material and timelines and the whole nine. So he's it.
So you said there was 2 different foremen on the site. That you were under a main one at one point, and then you were the one that led the site.
Yeah.
What's the one that's below the major foreman?
The crew foreman is basically the guy that he's the straw boss. So he's in there with the guys working on that particular floor. He's in charge of it. General foreman will be over him, and he's the one planning out the entire site. He's the one usually ordering most of the material in all the meetings, stuff like that. And the crew foreman is really just there to make sure the job goes right.
Do y'all have specific people that you have to order your supplies from, or do y'all look for the best price, or what's the system for making these orders?
We have contractors or we have vendors that we use, and a lot of the material that we use is all union made. Okay, so it's not like we're going down the street and picking up duct from somebody that we don't know. You know what I'm saying? Most of our material comes from our shop. We make it. But sometimes things like air distribution, like grills and flex and stuff like that, we'll order from a couple of different companies, one being Tom Barrow. But a lot of that stuff, even the taps, it's all union made. It's made by another contractor somewhere. I'm not even really sure where. But those are union employees.
So that's good that keeping it in the community to be able to make sure that the workers and stuff are getting the right materials. And I guess they have to also be stamped off on before they even be brought onto the site that this is standards.
Now, I think they have their own apprenticeship program. I think it's a little bit different. Yeah, no, they're still a union, so they have training and all that.
Going backwards a little bit, because I forgot to ask, what is a typical people? Like, how many people do you have on a job site?
Depends on the size of the job site. Like at this one job site, it's called NCG. It's a data center out in Covington. We had up to 40 sheet metal workers at a time. Most job sites, just like an office building or something like that. Probably about like 6 to 8 sheet metal workers. I had on the job that we did out in Alpharetta, I think the most that I had was 6. Most of the time it was just a 4-man crew.
Now, do you get to pick your crew members that are coming on with you versus like, oh yeah, these are assigned to you?
It's a little bit of both. My experience was I didn't get to choose.
Gotcha.
I was told. But you definitely are able to say, look, this guy's not cutting it. He's not showing up to work. He's coming in late and hungover, and he's not working. It's not working out,
Do they typically send different levels of skill out there to you? Like, are you getting a couple of new guys that are coming fresh out that they're training with, and they're pairing them up with some of the people that have been around for a while, or do you not even know what skill level they're at before they get out to you?
It's supposed to be a mix. I mean, that is supposed to be how it's supposed to go. If you get an apprentice or a helper, you team them up with a more experienced journeyman who's going to be able to train them and help them out. They tend to get a little apprentice heavy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, it's cheaper labor. All right.
Yeah.
So they'll try to load these jobs up with just a bunch of apprentices, and like, if the apprentices are good, they can do it. But they sometimes they don't have the experience necessary to do certain things, and then at that point, it's on the foreman to train them right. It can be done. It's just there's challenges along with that.
So with the money, is there an X amount of budget that y'all are given when ordering these parts, when paying the people that are on site, that you have to meet as a foreman, or is it just open checkbook that you can be able to do as long as you are reasonable?
You're working with a project manager, and he's the guy who's in charge of where the money goes, how much coming in under budget, right? But the sheet metal foreman has a responsibility to come in under budget as well. He's the one, if he's over on hours, he's using too much overtime, or he ordered too much material or something like that. That's on him. He's gonna get chipped up for it. It can be a challenge, especially with the way they estimate these buildings. You're trying to beat, because you bid on job sites. So
okay.
You're trying to outbid somebody coming in under their bid. I can do this job for cheaper. That's how they get work. And a lot of the times our contractor isn't even the cheapest contractor, but our safety rating is very good. And we take safety very seriously, and that's really appealing to general contractors and to builders,
Is your local union putting the submissions in, or is it your individual company that's putting in the bids?
No, it's individual company.
Are you a part of that process
No.
That's going out?
Absolutely not. That's some big wigs that I've never even met, dude.
Bigger pockets that they make
They handle that.
That's above your pay grade, as I like to say in the classroom. It's above my pay grade. So they're making that choice. They're putting you onto a job. Whenever they're making the bid, are they saying, hey, we can have this done in 20 days, we can have this done in 15 days, or it's going to take a couple of months?
To be honest, I'm not really sure. I don't know if they talk about timeline when they're doing the estimating. I know that not everything, but things tend to go over timelines and over budget. That's just how projects go. It's a challenge to keep it under budget and on time. But I think as far as timeline goes, that's up to the general contractor to push that timeline.
Yeah, because you want to try to make sure that you're not angering your customer, but also not spending too much of their extra money that they have into it, because that could affect your rating as a whole. Being on these job sites, you may be there for a week, you may be there for a month, you may be there for a year. How does that help planning out your next move? Because you may have 2 or 3 job sites going at once, like you said at one time.
Yeah.
How does that affect you being able to communicate between the 2 job sites, but also trying to keep it on time? There's just a lot of
you got a lot
pieces.
of people involved, though. It's not all on you. It's not all on one person like that. Now there are foremen that run multiple jobs like that, but it's just you're working yourself out of a job every day. That's what you do. You're working yourself out of that job, but into another one. So it's like, as soon as this one completes, like, oh, Bob does good work. He shows up every day. He's going to be on this one. We're going to send him here. And that's just the life. That's just how it goes. Like, I've been doing it so long. If I'm on a job site for any longer than like 9 or 10 months, I start getting a little squirrely. Like, I've seen the same people for the last 9 months, and I'm like, all right, it's time to go. It's time to get out of here. Now, I don't like bouncing around like every 2 weeks like some people do, but generally that's how long I want to spend on a project, is like right under a year.
So could there be a time lapse between jobs that you may, hey, I just finished this job and there may be 2 or 3 weeks before I start the next one?
Yeah, sometimes it's like that. Like I took 2 weeks of furlough not too long ago, like 2 weeks ago, right? And it's just because like out at the site that I was at, like there wasn't really a whole lot to do, and I was driving a long way, and I was just like, look, man, let me get a furlough. I'll sit at the house for however long, and I'll go back to work when there's work. So
you have that choice of how long your furlough was?
No,
or
it's not like that. Most of the time, and to be honest, I was lucky to have a say in it at all. Most of the time, it's up to the field superintendent who's going to say, this is where you're going, this is what you're doing, and that's it, bottom line.
Is that similar to like personal leave, or is it kind of like a sick leave to stay, I'm furlough, I'm based in it?
Furlough is technically from the company saying, hey, we don't want to lay you off because we got work coming up that we're going to need somebody, but we don't have anything right now. So all it is between furlough and a layoff is that instead of you having to go down to the Department of Labor and collect unemployment, is the company files for that on your behalf.
So you're still getting paid.
You're getting paid unemployment.
Oh, that's nice. That's a protection. Is that something set up by the union? That's
set up by the I don't know, by the government, man.
Okay.
When you get laid off from whatever your job is, even if you're not a union contractor, you get unemployment. That's just how that goes.
So between the different job sites, are you going to be constantly under the same company, or do you get to jump between companies?
Okay.
That's a tough question.
No, it's not really. It's just like, I think. So, yeah, I've worked for one company for the last 7 years or whatever. And that's how you want it to be, I guess. Or that's how I like it, is work for one company. But a lot of guys' experience isn't like that. When a company runs out of work, you get laid off and then you go to another company, to a different job site. But my experience has been, because I'm lucky, is that I've worked for McKinney's for 7 years, and yeah, once that job site finishes up, you go to the next one, or they need your help on this one, and you go there, and you're still under the same company.
I guess that's really nice to have. If you're getting, say, your W-2s at the end of the year, or some protection of that, are you getting your W-2 from the local union, or are you getting each individual company is sending you a W-2?
No, it's each company.
Okay, so you may be getting multiple ones that are coming in, which could be easy for taxes or sometimes be a pain if you're working for 3 or 4 different companies at a time. With working with these companies, working with the different unions, with the one union, what are some of the benefits that can be a part of being in this union, like in terms of like insurance and retirement?
That's a big reason why I joined. The benefits are great. Let's say in your world, right? Maybe not in your world, but when someone goes to work for a company, right, they will pay into a 401k, right?
Yes.
But they'll pay from their money that they've been getting paid, right? So that comes out of their check, right? And you have to pay for insurance out of your check.
Yes.
Right. That's not how it works with us. So I get paid. We'll go over the scale right now, and I'm not exactly sure of how much goes into our benefit package, but this is how it goes. As a journeyman, you make $34.44 an hour. Then on top of that, the contractor will pay on your behalf into our pension and into our health and welfare fund, which is our insurance. So we're getting paid all of that on top of what we already make. Nothing comes out of our paycheck. So it's great. I know at the end of my career, when I get to retire, I'm going to be able to retire. I have a pension set up for me. I never have to worry about health insurance. The health insurance is great. I have dental. I have vision. My family has all these benefits, and I don't pay for it.
That's nice to have that protection there for you.
And you can't knock the free education.
No, that's very true.
I learned a trade for free.
And while getting paid.
While getting paid.
While getting paid.
Yeah.
Whenever you're walking into this, is there an aptitude kind of test that you have to take? Because are they just going to, hey, you come in, start working?
No, there's a test you gotta take down in the Department of Labor. It's basically, it's nothing crazy. It was a little weird for me because I've been out of high school for a while, and like I don't know why long division was so hard for me, but like I hadn't done log division in a while, and that was a little hard. But you take a test, and it's not that crazy, and you pass the test, and then you can do it.
Jumping to the math, a lot of your work comes back to math, geometry, and all that stuff. So if you're in this, you want to be able to make sure that you are keeping up with that.
Yeah, it's a lot of trig, man. I mean, it's once you learn it, it's not anything. It's like second nature. You learn simple stuff, just like finding the circumference of a circle. You know, like
okay,
because to make your hangers or something like that. So like, if I got 10-inch round, I know that I have to times 10 inches by pi, right? And that ends up being about 31 and a half inches. I mean, you know, we ain't got to be that precise with it, you know. But that's the type, or to find a travel piece between 245, stuff like that. It's not anything crazy, but there is math that you have to do, and you will definitely mess it up every once in a while.
We're only human.
Yeah. That's just how that goes.
Yeah, that's definitely part of life. It's a learning process. You're going to make mistakes, but that's how really you learn to be able to do it. As long as you're not, killing 50,000 people in the process of it. But now, speaking of injuries and things like that, how does OSHA come in and protect your workers?
Well, OSHA is the stand. That OSHA has standards of how safe a site is supposed to be, right? And we all have to meet those standards. But most of the time, OSHA is not a huge part of our day. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like usually the general contractor has safety standards that exceed what OSHA is saying anyway, right? So like on scissor lifts, like OSHA doesn't say that you have to be tied off, but on most of the job sites that I go to, you got to be tied off on a scissor lift. Anything over 6 foot, you got to use a personal fall arrest system, including a body harness, a retractable, or a lanyard, and an anchor that can hold a truck.
Wow. So
it's stuff like that. That's how that's going to go. Yeah, like, and every once in a while OSHA will come out, but we know that they're coming.
So you get to
like everybody wrap the cords up, throw them in the game box real quick, and let's get out of here.
Oh man! When you're coming onto the site, what does your normal day look like? If you're you're sitting there, you're working with your hands. You're not the foreman. What does it look like if you're walking onto that work site?
You wake up early as hell, and we usually start at 6. That's preferred time for us. We start early. If you're going to work construction, just be prepared for that. There's no other. Sorry, that's just how it is. So we start early. We get there at 6. We have a morning meeting where we go over PTP.
What does PTP stand for?
It's the you know what? To be honest, I'm blanking on what PTP stands for.
Well, just describe and keep going. Sorry about that.
No. It's pre-task plan.
Okay.
Right. So you have a goal in mind. This is what we're going to do today. We're going to hang this medium pressure loop, and this is how we're going to do it. And these are the hazards that are involved in doing that, and this is what we're going to do about those hazards. And you stretch. We all stretch together in the morning, and we're, when you walk on a job site, you're supposed to be wearing your PPE. So you're supposed to wear your hard hat, safety glasses, gloves, the whole nine, like right when you get there. And you You go over the plan, you go over the material, you go over the safety hazards and stuff like that. And then you start working. You get to it. And, you know, sometimes sometimes it's hot, sometimes it's cold. Whatever the weather is out there that you're going to be in it, that's all there is to it.
How do you adapt for that?
You learn how to dress. You learn how to dress. Oh, it took me a long time. I mean, when I was a first year or a second year, I'd like show up and it'd be like 30-something degrees and I'd be in a flannel because I'm an idiot. You know, but eventually you learn how to dress. You learn how to layer up, stuff like that. But we like to take, instead of taking 2 10-minute breaks, one in the beginning of the day and one at the end of the day, we lump those together. We take a 20-minute break at 9, right? And that's become more and more important in my life, is at 9, it's like, that's break time. That's when I start getting hungry, you know? So we take break at 9, and then we work till 12, take a 30-minute break.
Is that kind of like a lunch or a...
Yeah, that's a lunch.
Okay.
And then we knock off at 2:30, beat the traffic, out of there.
So 6, 2:30 is kind of like
That's
a
it.
normal look.
Now, lately I've been working 10s. You know, like this job site, we start at 5 and we get out at 3:30.
It's still a good schedule. Be
It's
able to
not
make
bad.
sure you're not stuck in traffic.
Yeah, traffic is the bane of my existence.
Because you may be driving like Alpharetta, you may be driving down to McDonough. Like you could be all over the place.
Yep.
But I always love hearing back from you that, hey, I'm making it home and I'm getting my kid from school, or I'm making sure that he's off the bus at home, because that's a great father right there.
Yeah, I mean, he stays in after school nowadays. I mean, I'm never gonna be home early enough to get him from the bus, but like, you know, at least being able to, if I can't pick him up from after school, I'm working late or whatever, my wife swings by, gets him, it's not a big deal. But I mean, if you are let's say you're a single parent or something like that, and you're working in construction. Something that I'm lucky to have my wife for is there's no way I'd be able to get him to school.
Yeah, because you're
already
up.
at work.
You're already at work by that time.
It. So how do people do that? I don't know.
They're superheroes.
Yeah. I mean, seriously, like they have to figure something else out.
Yeah.
And it's just like a part of our trade. Like that's part of it is this. I don't know how you would even do it.
Yeah, it's impressive.
I have a support system, you know.
And that's the key thing in life. A good support system in any situation really goes, whether you're on the job site, whether you're at home, like anywhere you go, friendship and stuff goes a long way. Even though you don't have to be friends with your coworkers, but you have to trust them, because you don't want to be on a job site and all of a sudden just fall 30 feet because of, I unclipped my friend.
Yeah.
Speaking of like falling and getting hurt at a job site, what are typically some issues that you run into that you see on the job site of people getting hurt?
Yeah, it just comes down to you gotta learn how to protect yourself. Safety really is like, it's a culture, you know. It's like making sure the people that you work with know the hazards, know what you're doing, good communication, you know. But like things can happen, man. I mean, obviously we work with sheet metal. You're gonna get cut. That's all there is to it. You're gonna get cut. You try to protect yourself the best you can, and you learn how to hold the metal, right? You wear your gloves. Don't be an idiot. You know, a lot of times if we're working above like ceiling grid or we're unloading material, we'll wear gauntlets to protect ourselves from getting cut. Cutting or drilling or something like that, you're definitely putting yourself in the hazard of getting metal in your eye, which I've had happen to me. It's not fun.
That sounds painful.
Yeah. Even if you're wearing your safety glasses, like it can get in there. Usually when we're doing anything serious, we will wear a face shield too. But things happen. You know, but you're on a construction site. You don't just have to worry about what you're doing. There's everything around you is a hazard. Just walking. There's crap all in the way. Boards with nails in it sticking up. You could step on one of those. One of the job sites, there was a few years back, a guy got killed, got crushed by a concrete
Whoa.
hopper thing. They rigged it up with a nylon strap, apparently, and it picked it with the crane. Dude was walking out from the porta-john or whatever, and thing fell on him.
What a way to go. Not walking out, just walking.
Just walking, just period. So those are the hazards. Yeah. It's like, it's not just about what you're doing and what you're working with, but just being there it can be hazardous to your health. Over the long term, you're talking about like there's a new study on silica dust that it's going to end up being like asbestos, right? Silica dust is concrete. Okay? When you drill concrete, when you cut concrete, there's this dust that comes off of it. It's called silica dust. And once you breathe that crap in, it stays there. It stays in your lungs.
Oh, wow. So it's caking against your walls.
Yeah. It basically, it's dry, right? Hits your lungs, becomes wet, and then builds up on your lungs, right? So, and it just stays there until you die.
They haven't really found ways to be able to treat it or anything.
No, there's no way to treat it other than to protect yourself by wearing a mask, or we have these vacuums now that come on the hammer drills, and anytime that we're drilling into stuff like that, there's a vacuum that sucks all that dust up. So that's how that's going to go. But yeah, just over a very long period of time, your body's going to be beat up. By the end of my career, if I get to retire and I get 1 year of retirement, I'm happy. I win. Everything after that is bonus round, I don't care. But is my body going to be, am I going to be able to get up and go like I do now? No. Hopefully I'll be able to live a comfortable life after this.
So same back, legs, knees, like
all
of it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Is there anything that you're facing right now that you're starting to notice that your body is breaking down with? I know your body's breaking down in general. We're getting older.
We got to talk about that. God, look, no one's going to listen to this. This is really sad.
It's an important part of the career that people have to get a part of. Like, it's just a part of it.
It's like, okay, I've noticed that my fingers, like, I can't bend them straight all the way no more.
Oh, wow. I can now definitely see that.
Yeah.
Between your middle finger and your index and your, yeah. Wow. Okay.
My elbow does this thing where, like, I don't understand it. It's like,
is it clicking?
Yeah, kind of a little bit, but definitely back issues, knee problems. Like, every once in a while, my back will just be like, nope, you're not doing it. No.
Do you do chiropractor? Do you go
no,
do
certain, I think chiropractors are full of crap. But you just, you learn how to work with your back. Okay, you learn how to pick stuff up. You lift with your legs. You don't act like an idiot. You don't try to lift more than is safe. Just you learn how to work.
Gotcha.
That's just how you team lift when things are heavy, stuff like that. I'm deaf.
You've been deaf since you were 15 because of guitar music. We didn't wear earplugs.
No, but it's definitely got worse over the years. There's
the drilling. I bet
there's a ringing every once in a while.
So like tinnitus and sometimes.
Yeah, but overall, yes, that sucks. But I think that this whole career has been worth it just because. Out of all of our friends, right, we grew up and we all had to go out and get a job and get into the real world and stuff
Unfortunately.
Like that. And most of y'all went to college and followed that path, and I didn't. But at the end of it, even though my job is it's a little manual labor.
More than a little.
I'm in a good spot.
Yeah,
I'm probably
financially
doing a lot better financially than most of y'all.
It is very true.
I mean,
you definitely make double the triple what I make.
I got my own cars. My kid wants for nothing. Like we do all right, and I don't have no debt on top of it. I don't gotta pay. I didn't pay for school like y'all did, which is cool. That's a cool thing. But there are trade-offs. Like this job is killing me. Like literally.
Well, Everybody dies though, at the end of the day.
That's true.
Everybody dies.
Yeah, everybody's got to go one way or the other.
That's true. So you've worked on several projects over the last, you said 7 years that you've been involved. What are some interesting project places that you've got to work on?
Well, I'd say, Baxter Pharmaceuticals. That was an interesting job. The pharmaceutical company was crazy. It was there's a lot that goes into making something like that. A lot of moving parts, a lot of little pieces. It was that was a good job site, but everything the standards were definitely raised. For sure.
Is this because was this a pharmaceutical like production? They're producing medication.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so you had to keep certain temperatures, certain.
Well, not just like we didn't have to keep certain. The equipment that they put in did,
yes,
especially. But I mean, just down to like they had to X-ray all the welds.
Wow,
all the welds that it did had to like they had to be X-rayed, make sure there's no possible leaks. Period. Just stuff like that. That's the standards we're talking about. I've worked on, hospitals. We did a lot of hospitals, but office buildings, you name it. It's research centers. Like we just did Emory.
Oh wow.
We did, the oncology center for Northside. Stuff like that,
What's the highest up you've been on in terms of level?
What do you mean?
On like a building, say you're on like the 15th floor, 30th floor.
Yeah. Okay, that gets a little hairy. I'd say the highest I've ever been up was like 33 floors.
Wow.
And you're out there like.
Hopefully it was in the winter and you're freezing.
Of course it's in the winter and when it's freezing. And I don't know why they plan these job sites like this. Like I don't know why, but they do. It's like I guarantee you. In the summer, right? I'm gonna be inside. I don't know why.
Baking.
Yeah, no AC, windows up, just sweating my butt off, right? But in the winter, I guarantee you, I'm gonna be at least 18 stories up, no windows, wind blowing crazy, below freezing, just icicles in my beard, and that's life. That's how that is. You'd think that they would plan it out to where like it would be the opposite, but no.
If it makes sense, we don't do it, man. Right. Come on.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of the way some of that works.
But you get used to it, man. It's just that. In fact, like there are guys that like tenant work, like being involved, like on the inside, out of the elements. I don't. I really that's part of my work. That I'm not saying I like being cold because I don't, but. I like being on a slab, out in the elements. It's I don't know.
You like living on the edge is what it is. At any moment I could die right now. I could live on the edge. Yeah.
No, it's not like that. It's just like it's a different experience. Like if I had to go work in an office at this point in my life and like sit at a desk, like it's not going to happen. I'm not doing that.
Yeah, I can see you being completely bored.
Yeah.
Out of your head. Unless you pop it on headphones and ever hear like air drumming across, and just
it's just the act of like sitting down and stuff. I couldn't do it.
I'm with you. Sitting down and doing this podcast, like we're about to hit an hour, and sitting down is a little aggravating.
That's okay.
That's kind of part to it. I was reading this research the other day that was interesting. That we're getting up in age with a lot of the workers, and there's not as much as an influx into some of these unions of new people coming in. Have you been noticing that in the sheet welders workers?
Sheet welders workers.
Sorry, my apology.
Sheet metal workers.
Sheet metal workers. I apologize.
You'll get it. It's cool. Listen, yes, there's a generational thing happening, but from what I've seen, it's a leadership thing. We got plenty of guys that'll work. Okay, I feel like our generation is, man. All right, look, I feel like our generation is. We got people who work, but when it comes to a leadership role, it's hard. It's hard, man. It's just different. We have a different way of doing things than the generation before us and the generation before them did. When some of these older guys, especially these older leaders, walk onto a floor,
this is how hard it is.
They command respect. This is how it goes. nobody's getting nervous when I walk onto a job site, and that's a challenge. It's like, how do you get people to work? That's another reason why I didn't work out as a foreman. Is like, it takes a different person, and that might not even be a generational thing. I think I've noticed it in a generation way, but it might just be individual, like just leadership style and ability. Some people are natural born leaders and others aren't. That's how it goes. Yeah,
we each have our own characteristics, things that we bring to the table. Now, what do you recommend for someone going into this field? Like, say I'm a senior in high school and I'm graduating out, or I'm a 28-year-old male or female that's wanting to go into the work. What do you recommend for them?
Don't do it, man. I'm just kidding. No, I recommend, like, I think it would be hard for a kid out of high school to try to do this. And I've seen them. They do it. There's a couple of them that are very, very good. They're built differently, I feel. When you're straight out of high school, I would suggest go do something else. Go try college for a little bit. Try not to pay for it. Okay.
There's scholarships out there. Get all the stuff.
Get some life experience. Learn how hard it is out there. Get out from under your parents or whatever. And then once you see how hard it is, and if you do need this program and you want to make this type of money, then come in there. But don't go in there not serious about it, because it's going to take over your life. That's just all there is to it. That's any career, right?
That's true.
You're going to sacrifice things for your career. But my experience is this career in this program, it takes over your life. You don't really have a lot of time for hobbies or friends outside of that. So the younger guys, go do something else and then try it, and come to it once you're serious about it. The older dudes, like my age, when I was 24, it's definitely worth it. My only advice is just like show up on time and every day, and be serious about it, and it will pay off. It's a good life. It's not bad at all. I have no complaints about my lifestyle. It's just there's cons. There's some trade-offs.
With any job, any
with
position.
Any job, right.
Yeah, with any position of that. You were saying, finding time for hobbies and stuff. What do you do to disconnect, to decompress from work?
I don't really have a whole lot of time for myself, but it's okay. Like, I've got my kid. I hang out with my kid after work, and we try to, we play video games together, and we do stuff together. So that's what the majority of my time is. And any dude, especially in, my age, will tell you that's how it is. It's work and family. That's how it goes, But I still play music every once in a while. I'll pick it up and kind of mess with it, but not a whole lot. That's life.
Yeah. Do you have any music you could recommend right now that you're really into?
I'm really into this band called 100 Waters lately. They're kind of electronic. They're really good.
100 Waters, like Watt, W-A-T-T, or W-A-T-E-R-S? The first one?
The second one.
Oh, Waters.
Yeah, Waters, okay. Yes. Water. The 100 Waters, and then Audrey Nuna. Audrey Nuna is...
Oh my gosh, she's amazing.
Yeah, she is amazing.
She's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I've been listening to.
Kind of wrapping up here, do you have anything that you want to mention that perhaps I didn't cover, or that you just kind of want to throw out there for people? It could be anything. Just keep it clean.
No, not really, man. I mean, we need to legalize marijuana. That's what we need to do. That's what I'm putting out there in the universe.
Okay. You'll be able to have something that support. But I know that you were heavily involved with knowing what's going on with politics, and that's an important skill to have, of just, hey, know what's happening in your area. I mean,
just watch the news, watch different sources, and like pay attention to what's going on, and like don't take anything for. Just get multiple sides of the story. Don't be inside an echo chamber. But everybody needs to jump on board this train and decide, hey, we're gonna legalize marijuana and use that revenue to pay for some of these programs that we want to do. And all these people that are in jail for it, for
crazy amounts of time. We need to get them out. And that's what I got to say about that.
And that's an important stance to have to support it and know how to, write your signatures or contact your representatives or what that's going to entail to do it. Because a lot of the times let's just make change. You got to know how to do it.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
My senator is, his office is off at 92. So, yeah, I drive by there a lot.
And check in with him, talk to him. That's the point why
he's never there, but you know what I'm saying.
Well, you got to leave information. You got to have stuff for him. You got to do your part. That's a big thing that people forget about that you elect these representatives for a reason. They're representing you. Yeah. You may not like them all the time, but you got to at least get out there and rock the vote, man.
Rock the vote.
Rock the vote. Was that P. Diddy? Wasn't that one?
Yeah, that was P. Diddy.
Good old rock the vote. And that's true. So get out there. Enjoy your life. Keep it clean. Hey man, the earth needs to be clean, man.
Clean, man.
The earth's got to pick up.
Let's keep it between the lines, all right?
Yeah, think about the soil. Think about what's going on around you.
Think about the soil.
No, it's important.
It is important.
Everybody's
I'm
got
not
their own
knocking
thing.
you. All right, okay. Think about the soil. Think about it.
We're gonna wind down here to our dismissal. Bobby, I want to say thank you for coming on to the podcast.
Yeah, no problem.
It's been a blast. As we all know, if you want to reach out to me, it is cade, CADE, at learningfromfriends.com. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Facebook.
Follow me on YouTube.
I don't have YouTube. I'm not that
I'm
far.
on Twitch.
I'm not on Twitch.
Think about the soil.
Yeah, hey, man. Hashtag think about the soil.
Hashtag.
But reach out if you have a question. And let me know what we can be able to do for you. I hope you found something out of this that works for you. And most of all, as you leave out today, remember to let your curiosity fly high. This is Kate Curtis from Learning from Friends. Have a wonderful day.